Hey guys, Simple Smeargle here, and I'm gonna walk you through Professor Bulba's theory of why Charizard isn't a dragon type. Let's start off by looking at all the pieces of evidence we have to paint a clear picture. First, Charizard's evolutionary line. Charizard and Charmeleon both share the same species of flame Pokémon. Charmander's species, however, is lizard. And yes, we do call two well-known reptilians dragons, the Komodo dragon and the bearded dragon, but they are far from the cognitive ideals of what we expect to be a dragon. What do you picture when you hear the word dragon? A long-tailed winged reptile with claws and teeth and the ability to breathe fire, right? I'd say that describes Charizard pretty well. Let's take a look at the rest of the available evidence in Generation 1. And in case you're wondering, as far as the Kingdom Animalia classification goes, there is no such category as dragon. Mind you, there are no classifications for fairies either, but that's a whole other issue, and I ain't touching that with a 10-foot fairy wand. Just note that the classification of reptilia includes turtles, crocodilians, snakes, and lizards. Which Pokemon fall into the category of dragon species in Gen 1? Horsea, Seadra, Dratini, Dragonair, Dragonite. What about the Dragon Egg group? Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, Ekans, Arbok, Horsea, Seadra, Magikarp, Gyarados, Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite. Whew. Think back to Gen 1. Where did you first encounter dragons? Well, you can obtain Dratini in two possible ways, either through the game corner in Celadon City or in the Safari Zone, both of which equally time-consuming and frustrating. Later, we fight Lance, the self-acclaimed Dragon Master, and come across dragons yet again. So really, in Generation 1, dragons are pretty rare. Next, let's consider the chart typing for Generation 1. Ooh, Generation 1! Look how great I am for being the first and most loved generation of all time! Well, the reason we are focusing on Generation 1 is because that's where our fire-breathing friend is from. Anyways, the weakness chart for Generation 1 is just slightly tilted in favor of dragons. It holds no immunities, but it does take half damage from fire, water, electric, and grass types, which coincidentally is the starting types for Generation 1, if you include Pokemon Yellow. What does this all mean? What does this have to do with Charizard? Putting this all together, Professor Bulba's theory is this. Charizard is not a dragon type because it would be ridiculously unfair for two main reasons. One, he would be the ultimate starter. The game would be unbalanced. Everyone would choose Charizard and battling your friends would become rather boring. Two, the point of dragons in Gen 1 was that they were rare, scarce, and not attainable until later in the game. Again, this would ruin the balance of the game. Now, you may ask, Jay, why didn't they just change his type in the later generation? Keep in mind that Generation 2 was supposed to be the last Pokemon game. So to avoid complications of the time machine, continuity of the game, and the huge fan base, they probably just kept this well-established dragon a non-dragon type. They did finally give the fans what they wanted and gave Charizard the ability to Mega Evolve in Pokemon X into a dragon type. Which you gotta admit, that's pretty cool for Game Freak to give the fans what they wanted. As for the question of why other Pokemon are dragon types when the others aren't in later generations, Altaria and Vibra, that remains a mystery. Hey, before you go, check out our other videos. There's some pretty cool facts out there. And hey, maybe you want to relive the first season, 30 seconds per episode. This has been Simple Smeargle, and remember, just because a lizard can fly and breathe fire doesn't mean it's a dragon. But a piece of discarded gum? Yeah. Totally a dragon.